Hey guys, in this video I'm going to teach you how to apply to jobs. I am getting a lot of feedback from you guys that you're applying to hundreds of jobs and you're just not hearing any answers. Now, there's a lot of components that comes down to when you apply for a job. Is your CV right? I can talk about that in another video if you want. Is your portfolio page right? I can also talk about that in another video. Those two things are vital and important. The CV, it goes through an application tracking software. Once it does that, it will decide whether or not you go to the next stage of the interview. If you don't have that right, there's kind of no point. When you have your portfolio page as a junior developer, that is your life and bread. That's what you live and what you die on. That's your hiring manager is going to look at that, and that is the only indication he is going to get of whether you're a good programmer or not, because he's not going to believe anything that's on your CV. So those two things are very important. But today, and if you guys want me to make a video on those two topics, I can. But today we are going to talk about how to apply for jobs. So the first thing I want to point out is that you need to use a good job board. How do I define a good job board? LinkedIn is a terrible job board. Do not use LinkedIn. So the reason why LinkedIn is a terrible job board is because everyone can easily apply. There's so much competition. That's the main problem with LinkedIn. Too much competition, right? Workable jobs. So if you go to jobs.workable.com, is a great job board because it's just a listing of all the available jobs. And a lot of companies, they just create their jobs and then they post it in other places, and then you can have that list of jobs here. You don't have to compete with so many people. There is less competition for these jobs. That's why it's great. I have gotten 2 out of the 3 jobs that I've worked through Workable. It's amazing. Trust me on this. You want to use a job board where it's much easier, like there's less competition, and yeah, this is the one. So let's try to look for a job, so I can show you how I would apply for a job. So I would type in software engineer, and one of the things I really like about Workable is that if you type in software engineer, it's gonna catch all like the subtext. Like for example, it will catch front end, it will catch back end, it will like, you don't have to write down specifically different ones. You just write down software engineer. Oh, and it's a popular one. And then we have a bunch of software engineer. We have graduate software engineer. We keep going down. We have senior. So you don't have to specifically type junior or senior or Python software engineer, graduate. You don't have to write these things specifically down. Full stacks web developer, you don't have to write them all down. And the only thing that I think is kind of bad about Workable, and I'll touch on it a bit later, is the fact that you can't sort by date. Here you have a junior DevOps. Okay, so what I would do, and my approach to applying for these jobs, is essentially, and look, I've actually already applied for a few of them, is essentially I want to click on this. So I did it for the United Kingdom. I want to click on this and just press apply, and then I want to fill out the form, just give in all my details. You want to make sure that you're filling out these parts, the cover letter. You're doing a bit of research on the company beforehand, reading about them, learning what they do, and trying to put that on your cover letter. So I recommend that using one of these job boards, you look for up to 5 jobs that you want to apply for, and then you focus up and write down in detail, like you make sure everything is filled out in detail, especially if you're a junior developer. Now, in terms of the level of, you just go into detail. Sorry, I'm just looking at my notes. So yeah, you want to do this 5 to 10 jobs. I don't want to see you doing 20 jobs. The reason why I don't want to see you doing 20 jobs is because at that point you're not focus. You're just going to speed apply because it's going to be boring. You just want to do 10 and then move on to something else. So I'm going to talk to you about the issue why 20 days is not, why workable not sorting it by days is a bit annoying. You can do it in the last week, right? And the issue is, or last 24 hours is quite good. So the issue is that we have something called first applier bias. What is first applier bias? Essentially, the people who apply for a job within the first 48 hours are going to have an advantage over the people who apply for the job later. So companies need to fill in positions, right? So essentially, they usually are only going to take the candidates that applied within the first 48 hours, and they should at that point already have enough candidates. Now, in situations where a company still looks at your CV after the first 48 hours, right? So they just haven't completely cut it off, because a lot of the jobs that you apply for, if you're just getting a rejection, please in the comments tell me, did you apply for the job when it was after 28 days it's been posted? Because essentially they've probably already found their candidate and just forgot to take off the advert, right? So please do, jobs that are 28 days, if you get rejected for them, it's fine. 15 days later, if the job got posted 15, they've probably already found the candidate. And that's not your fault. That's perfectly fine. But with the jobs that you're going to be more likely to hear back and get an interview from, you want to apply for each job as soon as possible. And if you are one of the candidates, because I've been in this exact situation. I was applying for an Angular and Node.js job. I was excited. The recruiter, in all honesty, told me, hey, look, mate, I like your CV. They want you, but we already have someone who is 3 steps ahead of you in the application process, and they're going to do their final interview next week. If they pass, I'm not even going to call you back. That's what the recruiter said to me, and that's exactly what happened. Okay? So it's absolutely imperative and key that you understand that the people who are there first in the first 48 hours, they have such an advantage. They only kept me along in case this person, so they only wanted to keep talking to me and interviewing me in case the person that they already decided to get the role just failed the last interview. So just think about it like that. The first 48 hours is very important. After the first 48 hours, there's going to be automated rejection letters, and even if your CV is seen, you're going to always be behind someone. Just looking at my notes again. You also want to apply to jobs that are above your skill range. If you are a junior developer, first of all, do not label yourself a junior developer. I can make a video on why you are losing job opportunities if you put in your title, in your LinkedIn or anything, if you put the word junior developer, all right? You need to apply to jobs that are senior software engineers. You need to, the reason why you should not apply to jobs that say graduate or junior is because so many people apply to those jobs. I was listening to a YouTube video the other day, or a few years ago, about a senior developer talking about how he finds being a senior developer so stressful, and he's made enough money. He's planning to go back and actually apply for a junior developer job so he can still keep coding and making a bit of money while he, still keep coding and making a bit of money. So you are competing with a lot of people when you actually apply for a junior developer job. I have never gotten a job where it says junior developer. What I've done is I've applied for seniors, I've applied for mid-level, I've applied for every single job that I've seen, right? I do not care what the level is, right? And to be quite honest with you, I have heard back from companies. They have come back to me. They've said, hey, Itamar, we can't fill the senior level position. And that's the key thing. they're getting so little applicants that they're like, you know what, we can't fill the senior level position. We're interested in looking at you. Can you pass this coding test? Okay, and that's actually how I got my second job. They were looking for a bloody architect. And then they were just like, you know what, we can't find this architect. Let's just give you a shot. Can you pass this coding test? I passed the coding test and then I got my second job. So it's very key that you apply for jobs that are outside your skills, right? Outside your skill range, outside your seniority, let's say. And also, when you apply for a job, you also don't want to care about these labels, front end, full stack, especially if it's your first job, right? You want to be willing to just go in there and do anything to get your foot in the door, because until you do that, you can't really make any specifications or say, I only want to work on this stack. No, you need to just get in there, get your experience, and then after your first job, you can say, I want to be a front end developer only, I want to be a back end developer only. And that is the next point I am going to talk about, because some of you front-end developers out there, you're scared of becoming a full-stack developer. My first opportunity, I had no knowledge of Java and the back-end and how to run a Spring Boot application, but I took my opportunity because someone offered me a full-stack position, all right? And then I became a full-stack developer, right? And I had no idea what I was doing on the back end. I made mistakes, I deleted files, but I wasn't scared of the opportunity. Because if you label yourself as a front-end developer, and also I said don't label yourself as a junior developer, now think to yourself, right? Do not label yourself as a front-end developer. You just want to use the word software engineer. The reason why you shouldn't label yourself is because what if there is someone who wants to give you a full stack position, right? You don't want that person to think that you're not interested because you've labeled yourself as a front-end developer. So what I would suggest when you are applying for jobs, apply for full stack, apply for front-end, apply for back-end, apply for anything, right? And then if someone asks you, can you do a full stack position, you say, hell yeah. All right, do not be scared of that moment. You can learn. You did so well learning in the front end. You're going to do well learning in the back end. Looking at my notes again. When you do this with companies, you want to essentially, there is also a strategy of emailing companies, but I haven't had as much luck with that one. But what you want to do is you also want to follow up after you've applied for a job. And yeah, no, I think we've touched on a lot of topics here. There is more I can look into if you guys want. If you want me to look at a specific way to apply for jobs. Actually, I'll leave you guys with one last gem, one absolute gem for my front-end developers, strictly for my front-end developers. Okay, so a lot of you guys love React. You just love it, and I never understood why. Because you probably saw a video that said React is a thing, right? What I would say is, and I was looking at someone's projects, right? They built a bunch of projects in React. I was looking at the portfolio, amazing shit. What I would absolutely say is, look, you want to look at other front-end frameworks like Angular and Vue.js because, and this is an absolute gem, a bit of a secret in the job market that people don't really understand, there is far more opportunities out there for Angular and Vue.js developers. Yes, bear with me, I know you don't believe me, but what happens in programming is that programmers are very scared that they need to learn a new technology or what is the hot technology, and they all flock to that certain technology, leaving the other technologies lacking the staff. I can make a separate video about this, but I have some key statistics and analytics to suggest that if you apply for Angular jobs or Vue.js jobs, you're more likely to get them because there's less competition. Essentially, a lot of people have abandoned Vue and Angular because they think React is the thing. Everyone is on React. It's very hard to actually get a React job just because there are too many people applying for these jobs. So what is really key and what you guys should try out is to apply for Angular jobs. And my first position, I had only done React beforehand. I applied for it. It was for an Angular job, and I got it because there was such a lack of people doing it. So if you show initiative and in your portfolio page you have one or two Vue.js or Angular projects, it will, or even in your CV you mentioned that you've read the Angular documentation or you look at Angular, it will put you miles ahead. And if you're one of those developers who are like, oh my god, I don't want to bloody learn Angular or Vue.js, I only want to learn React. Look, you do not want to get involved in these framework wars. At the end of the day, you just want to get a job, you want to get your money, and then when you have your job and money, you work on the thing that the area you actually want to work on, right? Even if you want to become a Rust backend developer, first get your job in the front end in Vue, Angular, and then learn Rust on the side. Because how long can you be in this journey of becoming a programmer if you're not profitable? Get your money up first, and then you can look at other avenues. So that's my video. I hope you guys enjoy. I hope it gave you insight. If you need more help on how to become a developer, feel free to message me on LinkedIn, on Discord, whatever. I'm here to help you. I want you to be successful. Have a nice day.